I got really into Guitar Hero, and then I got really into this like fake metal band. Then it kind of spiraled from there.
But seriously, do you guys want some cocaine?
Right.
Dr.
Yeah.
Roxo! Welcome to Room 6, the channel dedicated to local music wherever it may be, and the people that make it, including my guest. And my guest is the bassist and frontperson for a band named after himself. He's an Atlanta-based rock band, five-piece, that's known for blending indie, emo, folk, punk, and more genres. Their EP, Modern Economics, is out now. Please welcome to the channel, Kyle Lewis of Kyle Lewis is a Boring Name. Hi, Kyle.
Oh yeah. Thanks for having me. I hate to start with like corrections. I'm just the singer.
Son of a bitch.
I play bass in another band, so that people
I
get
assumed.
confused.
That's on me.
Yeah.
So
And then so yeah, the EP thing's been stressing me out for such a minute now. So we're kind of doing that whole like waterfall promotion thing leading up to an actual full-length record that's coming out in November. But the way that our distro uploads, like do you know about the whole waterfall thing?
yeah, basically like a single, right?
Yeah, and then you're supposed to like attach the prior singles to the new single, so it looks like you're releasing like an EP that's continuously growing. Um, and yeah, so like our distro just like labels that as an EP. So we have a record coming. It's been like my boss at my day job was like, "Oh, congrats on the EP." And I'm like, there's a record coming. It's part of a bigger thing. But yeah, so yeah, Kyle Lewis of Kyle Lewis is a Boring Name, front person.
Honestly, I've been there, done that. I've had Joshua Courtwright because we couldn't come up with anything else, and it was my music at the time. But I only said EP because that's what Spotify labeled it as.
Yeah, it's been stressing me out, but there's no way I can fix it. And there are bigger fish to fry in the world. So
Yeah, man, we're all gonna die, so don't worry about it. So I mentioned this five-piece band, actually, or is it five other people besides you?
right now it's five, including me.
Okay.
We used to have a keyboard player, and we're about to have a keyboard player again. We're kind of going through a transition there. But right now it's me as a front person, two guitars, bass player, drummer, kind of your standard five-piece.
Right on. Can you go through the genesis of the band name? Like, was that like, you know what? I can't come up with anything at the moment, and I need a band name, or was that you're like, you know what, this will be hilarious, and
Yeah.
not realizing the pain it was going to cause you?
Yeah. It's funny. I say everyone hates their band name with enough time, right? Except for maybe Motion City Soundtrack. Perfect band name. But so yeah, I used to be a classical music composer. I did like avant-garde academic music. I got a degree in music composition at UGA, and then I got a master's at SUNY Stony Brook, or Stony Brook University is what they call it now. And composers just like go by their name, right? Like if you think about like the old school, like Bach and Mozart and blah blah blah, but even that still continues on today. Funny enough, there are two John Adams and John Luther Adams, who are living composers now. But I always remember thinking, despite the fact that there are John Adamses out there, my name is such a very forgettable name. It's very John Smith coded. And so I always had this like relationship as a composer where it was like, you kind of just go by your name as your brand, but my name is very normal, like incredibly forgettable. And also there is currently a living composer, John Lewis, who is George Lewis, who is famous and like good at composition. So there was already another like Lewis out there. So to fast forward, when I stopped doing kind of the classical music world, I was trying to come up with a band name, and I thought it was funny to kind of poke fun at this whole like, I wanted before to just go by my name, but like my name is so dull. And I was listening to a lot of Jeff Rosenstock and Chris Farron, and I know the kids are really hot on like Alex G. There's a local Atlanta artist I really like named Zoe Bayani, and so a lot of people just like go by their names now, which for me is a little weird as like a band guy. So originally it was just me, and so I kind of took part in that trend of naming the band just after myself, especially because it was just me at the time. But I think the Is a Boring Name was like a combination joke. Also, it sort of left a backdoor open to it could be a band name and not just my name for when the band inevitably did form. So yeah.
I think it would also look really funny on a T-shirt.
Oh, we've got shirts. We've got shirts. We've got frisbees with that name on it.
Or
We've got coffee
do you know,
mugs.
like a banner for when you're on stage.
Oh yeah, it's gonna happen. I
Yeah.
have we have stickers and pins that look like the "Hi, my name is" sticker, but it says Kyle Lewis is a boring name, like inside that format.
Very
It's
cool.
very funny.
How about
So
this for the banner? Throw an idea at you.
yeah.
Really big across the whole banner. Kyle Lewis, like huge, and then very tiny in the bottom is a boring name. It's a boring name. Yeah.
We have a little Discord server for some of our like super fans, and it's titled "My Name is Boring Too." So
very cute.
yeah.
All right. Well, by the way, if you want to be like Kyle and not be boring, but be featured on Room 6, whether reviewed, interviewed, or both, hit me up down below by clicking the Room 6 social media link or the email address, and let me know, because that's where you'll find all of the things I'm up to online, ways you can support the channel, like room6.shop for merch, and more. And what the heck, go ahead and click the like, share, and subscribe buttons. It really does help, and I appreciate all of you. And literally, like about 80% of you that watch my videos are subscribed. No, I'm sorry. Flip that. About 80% of you are not subscribed, so get with it. Yeah. And thanks. I appreciate all of you. All right, that's enough of the YouTube spiel. So, I have a couple kind of personal questions. I also have a couple of usual interview questions. And I want to start with one of my usual interview questions. And Room 6 alumni and OG Room 6ers, they know what's coming. I want to talk about your earliest musical influence. And by that, I mean, do you remember a moment when you said, I want to do that?
Oh, yes. I feel like I take great, not pride. I have a lot of warmth for this story at this point, but looking back, it was incredibly cringe. So I played a little bit of piano as a kid, but didn't really take to it and didn't totally love music at the time anyways. I remember distinctly as a young child thinking, I don't know why anyone would sit and listen to music. That seems like such a boring thing to do. Like distinctly, I remember having that thought one day. Fast forward many years later, there was a school assembly. This is a long story, but there was a school assembly where some kids from my school played Guitar Hero at the school assembly. And I saw that. I thought, that looks like so much fun. I was really into video games. I was, like doing that from a pretty young age. I'm pretty sure I learned like how to read from playing Pokemon Stadium on the Nintendo 64.
Gotta catch them
all.
So,
right. And so I saw Guitar Hero and I was like, oh my God, I gotta play this. This looks fun. And so I took some money I had from Christmas and I like bought Guitar Hero and I started playing that game. And I think that's kind of when like heavy guitar based music really clicked in my head. And then I was going through, it was Guitar Hero 2, and I was going through the bonus tracks, and they have a song by Death Clock, which is this, fictitious metal band from the Adult Swim cartoon Metalocalypse. And I was like, ooh,
that's brutal.
I think I've seen that come on TV before, and I was right at that age where I could like stay up late and like watch adult TV. Like I was like a new thing. It was exciting. So like all the edgy like late night programming on Adult Swim was like exactly targeted for my like 13-year-old self. So I stayed up really late that night just hoping the show would come on, and it did. And immediately obsessed. I like went out and bought the DVD that week. I bought the Death Clock CD, and I like got so into metal from there. And then I got into a whole bunch of other stuff, and obviously my band's like this weird, playful, fun, I don't know, whatever it is, indie, emo, whatever you want to call it, kind of band. So yeah, that's kind of where it all started. Is I got really into Guitar Hero, and then I got really into this like fake metal band. Then it kind of spiraled from there.
But seriously, do you guys want some cocaine?
Right.
Dr. Roxo!
I was just talking to our drummer. We were in Kroger before this, and I was just talking to him about. It's so funny to me in the very first episode of that show, they don't really know what they're gonna do with Toki's character, and they don't know he's gonna turn into like the eternal child baby guy.
Yeah.
And so they have the whole like he was like, "Oh, I need to take a couple personal days." And he's like, "You took 2 personal days this week," and he's supposed to be like this depressed guy. And they flip that like 3 episodes later. He's like just like pure joy.
And anybody who's done music long enough knows the pickles.
Yes, yes. My favorite bit is that you never know, like when they refer to his parents, are like it's Pickles' mom and dad, and then like
Yeah.
they've Seth his brother, but you never hear his last name in any context, which I think is great. Yeah.
All right. So from there, I want to move to a more, personal question.
Oh yeah.
You mentioned about where you went to school. Can we talk about, or can you compare and contrast, if you will, Guy Did Ale versus Murder the Mood versus Kyle Lewis is a boring name?
Wow. Okay. I'm having one of those like Sean Evans, like, oh, you did your research
Yes,
moments.
yes, that is what I live for. I
Yeah.
I, I have been called the next Nardwar
Nice.
without being the annoying like confrontational. But no,
Yeah, yeah.
I do my best. And I do not have a research team. It's all. I mean, yeah, my research team dug this up. No, I live for that
Right.
moment. So please, can you like talk us through how each one is a little different?
Yeah, I mean, Guided Ale is really the pull for me. So I've been in a handful of groups. The first one actually was a band called We by the Sea. I put out an album, I think, like 10 years ago with that band. And then that kind of was like my late college, I mean, my late high school, early college band. And then when that kind of wrapped up, I started playing in this wacky performance art duo called Guided Ale. Like I said, I was a composer, so I was like doing all this like pretentious art bullshit, which I still love. I have such a high tolerance for pretentious, whatever.
I've seen some of your TikToks.
um, and so yeah, I started this like performance art duo with a visual artist. What I wanted to do was like have these like rule sets on how we could like improvise, but like it wouldn't be just like everything was getting made up on the spot. It was like I do these kinds of things and that triggers you doing this and back and forth. So like he was like cueing me and I was cueing him at the same time. And we had like rules about how the form would go and like what sounds and what kind of things he could do. And it was like very two-way. Like sometimes people would think, oh, I'd play something and he would like draw what I played, but we were like talking to each other across the mediums, which I thought was really fun. So we did that for a hot minute. We did like a whole gallery residency. Excuse me, I have a hiccup. Did a whole gallery residency. We made like a weird kind of album that was like, CD only, and we made a whole bunch of art. And actually, so this like 4-panel piece behind me is one of the like rehearsal takes from a piece that we did, and then this piece behind me is actually by another artist who did like a big piece we did that had like 3 vocalists, 3 artists at the same time. So yeah, that was really fun. And then Murder the Mood, I actually still play, and that's the one I play bass in, and I do a little bit of backing vocals there. And that's with my friends out in Athens. CJ Hody is the frontman for that band. They're like a cool, riffy alt rock group, and I had kind of a fun moment when I joined that band because I remember watching them when I was younger, and they're a 3-piece. And anytime I see a 3-piece, I'm always like, bass players got to play a lot of notes to make a 3-piece work. Otherwise, it's just too thin of a sound. You either need 2 guitars
Same with the
or like a
guitarist.
keyboard, or you need a bass player that's just like busy. And so I moved back down to Georgia actually in 2020 for maybe obvious reasons, and they lost their bass player, and I was kind of like, oh well, like maybe I'll play bass. I didn't really know what I wanted to do with music at the time. I had kind of come out of grad school and abandoned the whole composer route, and was having like a big crisis of like what I was doing with music in my life in general. And I just like knew they were cool homies and that was gonna be fun to play in. And then I got to do the whole like, okay, now that I'm here, I can do the bass right. We're playing a whole bunch of notes. We're doing it like, like Anti-Flag or Rancid kind of bass lines where it's just like busy, notey, a lot of double stroking, and yeah, it's fun. So I still play in yeah. So I still play in Murder. And I love those dudes. And yeah, now I play in Kyle Lewis is a boring name, where I get to yelp in front of strangers and dance around a lot.
Nice. And by the way, if Murder the Mood wants an interview, send
Oh
them my
yeah,
way
I'll tell CJ to hit you up.
by all means. And what was I going to say? You just based off your TikTok, your video clips alone.
Yeah.
By the way, I've got social media links down in the description, so make sure you check them out when you're done here.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and also find out where they're playing. Swing by, tell them Room 6 sent you. Ting! Anyway, your videos give off so much Weird Al energy, and
Yeah.
I was surprised you didn't use that as like a major influence when you were, younger. Was that like a conscious? Is that just who you are when you're performing, or was that like a real?
Yeah.
I want to be this out of the box character.
It's kind of both and. So I did get really into Weird Al probably actually even before I got super into metal. So that is probably irrelevant. Like music turned on in my brain around that time.
Weird Al is the gateway drug to metal.
Yeah, 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 yeah. And I actually think a lot of them have it. It has a lot in common with a lot of forms of metal. I don't think so much so like the current like a lot of American like more popular metal now is like very like metalcore or deathcore coded. I feel like, and or like there's the kind of like hard radio rock stuff, and like all of that is very like tough. Um, but like the metal I really liked was like thrash and like melodic death metal, and like I got into a whole bunch of stuff. I listened to like kind of the whole gamut, and I like a lot of metalcore and deathcore too. But the metal I really like the best is metal. It's kind of like a little bit campy. It's kind of like an 80s horror film where like sometimes it can be actually scary and intense, but also like sometimes it's just dumb. You know, like I love Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and it's like both ominous and sinister and also just like campy as hell.
Nice.
And I think that that's a thing that like Weird Al has it in common, right? Like it's weird, it's kind of just like fun. Um, so Weird Al is definitely an influence on me. I remember like watching the music videos. I love him. I actually bought tickets to go see him in Nashville, and then he's coming to Shaky Knees, and so I'm selling my tickets so I can go to Shaky Knees instead because Shaky Knees is in Atlanta. But yeah, I think he's great, and in general, I think some of the same attitude of like Weird Al is not worried about being cool, you know, and similarly, like I've I at one point in my life went to like 2 or 3 shows a week. I've seen a like God so many classical recitals. Like I went to like 3 or 4 or 5 a week for some years, and I've seen so many shows, and I'm just so tired of bands being cool. Like I know like playing guitar is a cool thing to do, being in a band is a cool thing, but like when I go to a show, like my number one thing I want to do is like have fun. And so that's kind of like become our brand. So like in the TikToks, in like our stage show, like the whole thing is like we want it to be playful, we want it to be fun. Like I can be genuine and I can write a song that's, like serious and from the heart, but like when I want you to think about my band, about our band, I just want it to feel like it's a good time, and I want people to leave thinking it's fun. And that's been kind of the feedback. So we've been really happy about that. So I think that's kind of where some of the Weird Al like spiritual through line is just like this idea of like fuck being cool. Like the best thing you can do is just be like campy and fun in yourself. And I got one last thing. I know I'm montage. I'm not montage. I'm
Please
monologuing
keep
here.
going, keep going, keep going.
On TikTok, like one of my main things is like it is way cooler to commit to the bit and way more fun to be kind of like inherently cringe, but just like going for it than to just like kind of like half commit to something. And I've always thought like if I'm going to go online and promote my music, which I thought was important, it is way less cringe to do some dumb shit in public and put some dumb shit online than to write like an hour-long pop punk album and have your mom text you at the end of the year and say, I love this one, sweetie, and she's the only one who's heard it, right? Like, so I'm like, you know what I got to do is I've got to like make dumb shit, have fun, and like have people, like go meet the listeners where they're at and like say like, hey, we're having a good time here, I want to have a good time with you too, like come have fun with us. So yeah.
Definitely. And everything you said is so true. And you're talking about Weird Al, and how your opinion basically. Number one, you should check out a band called Have Fun. I've had on the channel
Oh yeah.
because they do like they embody their name. Maybe not to the extent you do,
Yeah.
because you're a freaking cartoon character when
Yeah,
you're
I try to
TikToks,
be.
but
I almost tried to get the band to name the album "Fun is Important," and then I decided that we should pick a fun name instead of a fun slogan. So the name of the album is "Big Dog's Biggest Dog."
DAWG.
It's gonna be DOG. So I went to UGA, so DAWG is coded.
Nice. Um, but
Yeah,
yeah, you totally reminded me of a story of my own experience where I was in an indie rock band. And we would be so many times booked on metal shows for whatever reason. It would be like,
yeah,
or even worse, like one guy on acoustic, us. metal band with like the makeup and the
Yes.
which has its place. But it would be a sea of black and safety pins, and I'm
Yeah.
in there wearing a Cookie Monster shirt
Yeah.
and looking like this, and inevitably you'd get some weird looks, and I'd be like, I'm the most metal fucker here. I'm doing what I want. And
Yeah.
by the way, excuse me, I gotta go do a thing, and then I get on stage and we'd rock their asses off. But
It's so funny. It
I
reminds me though, there's shows that I've played like this where I remember one particular show, we show up, they didn't even realize that we were booked because we were booked through like a booking company and it was a
nice.
whole mess. First band's like a kind of jazzy R&B singer-songwriter. Uh Second band is a solo extreme metal project, just one guy, and he walks up to the mic and he says, "They call me the Dragon." And I'm like, I'm waiting for him to like kind of like laugh and point at us saying like, hey, I got you. But no, 100% very serious.
Edgelord much?
I mean, he was good. It was just so fucking serious, so weird. And like, he didn't seem to have any like idea that it was so weird that he was up there this intense by himself. Just like backing tracks and his like, he was good. Then there was like a 3-piece band that sounded kind of like a Diet Disturbed. A 2-piece slam grind band that had their set cut because they made jokes too filthy for the venue to tolerate on stage.
Wow.
And to be fair, like they were right. It was pretty bad. And then they had like a guy who sounded like Jason Mraz, a band that sounded like a progressive version of the Strokes, and then my band at the time, which was like, I don't know, some progressive rock thing. Very weird show. No one had fun. Very few audience members. But
that
like
was
those
all
are kind of
one
moments
show?
you look back fondly on, you know?
That was all one lineup?
Yes, it was crazy.
I
It
mean,
was like a Thursday night or something like that. Like
I mean,
insane.
I'm all about bang for your buck. In Vegas, there is a all ages club. It's literally a fraternal order of Eagles lodge, but they have a room and they rent it out to the booking companies,
Yeah.
and they put on metal shows, and it's so funny because you're like in the bar, the members only bar are like veterans from the war, and in the other room you've got death metal or you've got whatever emo punk or whatever.
Yeah.
And I just thought, well, but it would be like 10 bands for, $10. And you're like, this is a great value. And they even had alcohol if you had like, the special bracelet.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking, why can't more venues do this? And then I was like, oh yeah, because they're down by the strip or, they got all these expenses. So anyway, moving on. Stick around, by the way. I forgot to ask off camera, but Kyle, do we have a music video that we can tack on at the end of this interview for the?
Oh
the
yeah.
guests?
We've got at least old ones I could send. Yeah. We've got
All
a
right.
couple.
Stick around. We're going to see something.
Nice.
And it won't be boring. Hey, but
Yeah.
so stick around. We're going to see a music video, an offering, if you will, from Kyle and the gang.
Oh yeah.
And also, don't forget check those social media links down below. I want to talk. Now, you've been doing music for a while.
Yes.
How long has this lineup of 5 people-ish been doing Kyle Lewis as a boring name?
Yeah, so I've been releasing music under this project name for 2 years, and we like became a band about a year ago. So I've been putting music out for a while, and then I had enough of my like music scene friends text me being like, "Hey, I want to be a part of this," and I was like, maybe I should start like getting the live lineup together. That's an incredibly abridged version of that story. Actually, the one most fun version of that is our bass player Anna Fernandez. She was in an indie rock band that I saw when I was like first getting into local music as like early high schooler, and she was the first bass player that I ever saw in my life at any gig that I was like, damn, the bass player is great. And so I started putting out music under this project name, and she texts me and she's like, hey, I don't know if you remember me from back in the day, but we knew each other back in the scene, X number of years ago. I'm like, how could I possibly forget you? Like, you're so good. And she's like, oh yeah, like, do you need players for this? I'm like,
Yes.
of course I do. Yes, please.
Wait.
Be a part of my band.
wait. A woman? Just kidding.
Yeah, she's great.
Awesome. I've seen a lot of new, well, not new to my feed, if you will. I've seen a real increase in female bass players for all genres.
Yeah, female band members in general is definitely on the rise.
Oh yeah, and drummers too. Yeah,
so nice because it was very much so a dude scene for a long time, and it's still not like 50-50. I actually remember when I was in grad school, I was at a concert and I was like, oh yeah, there's like a lot of female composers on this concert. There's a lot of female musicians on stage. Like this is so cool. It's like a really a femme heavy event. And then I counted up and it's exactly 50-50. I'm like, damn, this is how it should be like every time. Like I'm so upset right now with
Right.
myself.
Uh,
Um,
I've actually, one of the things I do on the channel is I'll cover live music
yeah.
shows when I can, and again in Vegas, I more than once got invited to cover a female female presenting only night where every act had at least one member.
Yeah,
Usually
yeah.
the front person was female presenting, and I was just like, "This is cool," because it again the crowd was pretty much half and half,
Yeah.
maybe leaning more female ish. But
Yeah.
yeah, so but the reason I ask all that is that you must have some really great stories from performing. And I was wondering, do you have a particular story that's like your, this one time kind of story where what is your most favorite, most memorable performing story?
I'm trying to think about. So we did a show around my 30th birthday. They surprised me with a cake on stage, and I was like,
Aw.
for the meme, I have to bite the cake, right? So like big, but I have a beard, so it's like just like in my face, and I'm like, oh, I have to sing into it. So that was kind of fun. But on that same show, the more actual memorable thing was I had this idea of like, okay, what is a fun stage thing we can do that's gonna be relatively cheap? It's not gonna be a problem with the venue. I'm like, we need to get bubble guns and like have bubble time. Um, and so there's a part of our stage, like our show, like where we have a song called "Summer's Ending." It's got this kind of like fast intro thing, and there's like big hard silence cut, and then it's like it comes back in, it's all triumphant, and then so we set up a couple people in the crowd to like shoot bubbles from these bubble guns, and they're like everywhere. It's great. We've got like pictures online. It got to be very aesthetic. It was fun. um One of the crowd members hands one of the bubble guns to one of my so I play tennis, and one of my tennis friends brought his I think he's an 8-year old son, and gave him the bubble gun. Obvious right choices of the person to give the bubble gun, but also he's shooting them directly into my face. And so
Nice.
like it is so cool, and like I'm looking up and it's like majestic, and I'm like, man, I feel like I'm such a cool musician right now. Hacking up bubble soap for the rest of the night because I'm like breathing it in because I'm taking big breaths to like
Right.
sing, and I'm like I didn't think about that. I was like, oh my god.
Bubble
Which is so
soap and
cool. I
cake.
actually think it might have been that kid's first concert, which if so, it's so cute. And my friend now texts me. He's like telling me about his son, like asking their Alexa to play our music, or they saw like our poster out in the wild, and it's like his son going like, oh. So,
Aw, that's
that
adorable.
really makes me, that really tickles me. But yeah, the bubble time was great. We're gonna have to bring that back and get people to aim it at other
Yeah,
people's
no
songs
face
instead of
shots.
mine. Yeah.
Yeah. Hearing about the kid reminded me how also, aside from a lot of female bass players and drummers that are popping up, there's also all these prodigy kids, especially on the drums.
Oh
Are you
yeah,
kidding
yeah.
me?
I
And I
mean,
want to,
any way you can get a drummer, right?
I want to see the most hardcore band, either
Yeah,
punk or metal, with some 10-year-old on the kit,
that'd be
just
sick.
killing
And
it.
he's like playing blast beats like
They're
half the
like,
time.
people are like,
I
"Where's the
love it.
drummer? Where's the drummer?"
Yeah, yeah. I mean, like, yeah, it's funny because like getting a drummer is a a thing that everyone I know complains about. So yeah, I mean, if you can get any age kid,
Oh yeah, if
as
you're
long
a
as they play
drummer,
well,
if you're a drummer with transportation for your gear and you have a place to rehearse,
yeah,
you will never lack for work. And if you're a bassist, everybody needs a bassist.
yeah,
But I can't tell you how many acts have been on the show that when I get around to the bass player, they're like, "Well, we needed a bass player." I figured, I'll pick it up.
yeah. We got my drummer when I was in middle school and first got into music. I convinced him to play Rock Band drums because I was playing Rock Band on guitar, and then we actually built this like makeshift mic stand out of like a laundry basket with a broom taped to it, and then we taped the mic to the broom. So it's like playing guitar and singing and Rock Band at the same time. Very dumb. And so I convinced him to play the Rock Band drums, and then later when I picked up guitar, I picked him to convince him to play drums. And I've played with this guy in every band since. And so like when I started this band, he texted me. He's like, "Hey, I'm gonna be the drummer for this, right?" And I was like, "If you want to be 100%, like
Nice.
that's the dream." He's one of my best friends. I've known him since I was 6 years old, and yeah, he actually lives in the same apartment complex, so we get to hang out quite a bit.
Very cool. Um, a couple more questions, and then we're going to check out that music video,
Oh
whatever it
yeah,
is. And again, stick around for that and check out those social media links down below. Uh, Besides the pie, why else should someone go to New Music on the Point?
Oh, hell yeah. So for those people who don't know, News Music on the Point is a composers festival in Vermont. So there's these things that happen every summer for musicians in like the classical world, where they have like all these summer, they call them festivals. It's kind of like a career networking thing, but you also like learn stuff, and then you do get to see a lot of cool music. Um,
Sounds kind of like Nam.
yeah, but it's like if you imagine combining Nam with like a 2 week school program, you know? Like it's weird. It's very odd. And they're expensive, but they're like a hoop you jump through if you're gonna be like, especially if you're gonna be a composer. Usually you can get a good recording of a piece you wrote for the conference or the festival or whatever they call it, you know. And then you like make networking connections to help you get into grad school, which is kind of the reason you go. And so I went to a handful of these. New Music on the Point is so cool. It's in Vermont. It is like literally summer camp. Like you go and stay in like a, you know, like 8 bunk bed room with like all the other composers that are there, you know, like someone has their CPAP machine running because you're not kids at this point, you know. Um, and you have all your meals in like the mess hall. I remember specifically thinking just like it's like it was 2 weeks long and like they don't have any padded seats anywhere. So I just remember thinking at some point, damn, dude, my ass is sore from just sitting down on wood the whole time. You
What's
know, like
what's what's really funny is that I just recently turned 53.
okay,
I'm sitting on a wooden dining chair because the stool was making too much noise,
yeah,
and I'm like, God, I wish I had a
a
pillow.
pad. Yeah, it really makes a difference. And like I didn't notice it that much until it's like you're just sitting for like standing, sitting outside, sitting on like a rock, sitting on like a hard wooden bench, sitting on, you know, a metal chair or something like that. And I'm like, dang, like, but the food, so the secret thing about New Music at the Point, the music was incredible. I wrote the absolute shittiest percussion trio for that. I'm really like, it's one of my great composer career failures is I didn't write a better piece for that festival. I was going through a lot of things at the time, and it is what it is. But one of my the kind of the secret, like the best thing that's there besides all the incredible music and it's like at camp is they have, at least I don't know if they still do, but at the time they had a chef who like makes all the food, and he also will like forage for mushrooms for like the cuisine and stuff like that. Like
Oh
it's
damn!
crazy. And like it's not just like when you imagine camp food, you're not thinking like, oh boy, the food's gonna be great, and it's so good. And like the chef, I think he's still there, I don't remember. um yeah, that was great. But yeah, New Music on the Point. If you are somehow an academic avant-garde composer and you don't know about New Music on the Point, you should go, and you should not look up the piece that I wrote for that program because it was Jesus Christ terrible.
I'm not
I wrote a
familiar
couple
with
good pieces, but you know that's not one of my
I'm
favorite.
not familiar with that musical, Jesus Christ Terrible, but I'd see it.
Jesus Christ terrible. Yeah, it was the B sides of the Jesus Christ Superstar Broadway production.
I
Um,
don't know how to hate him. Anyway,
yeah,
uh,
it
moving
sounds
on.
like Cats if it was out of tune.
I mean, anyway, we're not going to go down that
yeah,
low hanging fruit. Low hanging
yeah,
fruit.
yeah.
But last question, you made it. Yay!
Hell yeah.
All right, and remember, stick around for that music video, and if you want to be on the show, let me know. We're gonna OG Room Sixers know what's coming. We're gonna circle back to that earliest musical influence question. I asked this of all my prey.
Oh yeah, yeah.
uh,
Bracing myself.
so you're jumping in a time machine. You're going back to little you that said, "I want to do that." What is one piece of advice that you would like to give that you wish someone had given you? And don't say change your strings.
Damn. So this is so hard. And I imagine everyone says that because there's a million things I feel like I could tell my younger self, but like it's hard to really know who you'd become without all of it. Like I think the most pragmatic advice I give to most young musicians. My younger self pretty good about this, but not as good as I should have been. I'm really good about it now. Protect your hearing. Like wear earplugs when you're rehearsing in shows. And like I don't know, there's part of my brain that was always like, well, if I'm at home with my amp, it's not nearly as loud as if I go to a concert, and that's dumb, right? So that's the real advice for all musicians of any kind. If you're playing in like, you know, marching band, if you're playing in a band, if you are in orchestra, like protect your hearing. It's much easier to get used to wearing some nice pair of earplugs than it is to uh, deal with whatever happens when you don't. That being said, God, the more fun answer, it is hard to say because I feel like I always think of life as like kind of like narrative threads that you're kind of like weaving into, whatever your tapestry that your life is, right? And I think a lot of like the existential dread of like the big things that like cause you to suffer some kind of anxiety or ennui or whatever is when one of those threads feels like it comes out of the weave, right? Like, and I think a classic example is this: you go through a breakup, right? And all of a sudden, this like narrative of like this relationship and like your life with a person is now like an open thread. It's just kind of like something like you're like, I'm gonna figure out dating or love or whatever at some point, but right now I'm kind of in the like, we got to figure out how to weave that back into my story sort of thing. And so like I think the advice I want to give my younger self changes to based on where that like that thread is, right? Like, sometimes when I'm like when I did go through some like hearing kind of issues at one point, so like the thinking about like, oh, protecting your hearing was something I would have like really told a young version of me. But like, there's other things that like I think about with like my composer career. I really hard committed just to learning how to do composition stuff, and I got pretty good at that. That being said, like every musician I know like makes money some way that's not music. And so I think I wish when I was in school I learned more about like recording engineering or like running live sound or other things that you could do as like a job to make some money like gig work wise. And that's sort of still relevant now. So I guess that's probably the good advice is just like, if anyone ever tells you like you needed to specialize and focus on one thing, I don't know any musician who's ever just good at one thing. That's like, with maybe the exception of like Steve Vai being the best guitar player in the world, like, and sure, I bet you he's good at like 900 things I don't even know about.
I don't know,
But
man. He lost to Robert Macchio, Ralph
right, right,
Macchio. I
right,
mean, in that movie.
right, yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, and the devil loses the golden fiddle to Johnny, but we know who plays better fiddle, right? Like, you think the king of hell isn't good as hell at fiddle? Like, there's no way, right?
He's a busy guy, but
Yeah, yeah.
I'll be honest though. In over 6 years of doing this, you're only the second person to respond about protecting your hearing.
It's so important. Yeah,
Listen to me, new musicians or young musicians. It, forget about cool.
yeah,
Your hearing, when you hear the tinnitus, when you hear that every time you hear that, that is at least one range of music, one note range that you can't hear anymore.
yeah,
The little hairs inside your ear canal are dying. It's super bad, and I mean they'll regrow to a certain extent, but after a while, no. As like I said, sometimes I'll go and cover live music shows, and part of that is I'm taking photos and I'm taking video, and especially in Las Vegas, some of these speakers are right there, and I'm standing
yeah,
right next to them, and it took me
yeah,
one time of forgetting earplugs, and I just never again. Now in
yeah,
my camera bag, I have at least two sets of earplugs for me and just in case. But it's it's so nice. I don't come home and just lay there with my ears ringing anymore.
yeah. Well,
Yeah.
if you ever end up in a spot, and this is a great PSA for it. So I have like the ongoing condition of tinnitus where you just kind of have some low level like some sound. I hear kind of like a high like hissy type thing.
Right.
And it used to give me so much grief, like life ending levels of like emotional anxiety about it. But there is like a thing called tinnitus retrainment therapy or retraining therapy, and it's
Oh.
very successful. It's so frustrating because there's no cure for tinnitus, but I had like two ENTs and two audiologists tell me like, oh yeah, like there's not really anything you can do about it. Like, have you tried just ignoring it? I'm like, I'm telling you, I am so depressed and my life is awful because of this, and you're telling me I should just like
Have you tried not
maybe,
being sad?
yeah, yeah. It's just it really it's like the dumbest advice of all time. And so I hit a
Wow.
point like in grad school where I was like, well, I'm killing myself or I'm gonna find an answer for this. And so I went to I went out to say seek a specialist. I thought like even if it's a con, like I'm at a point of desperation here. And so there's a thing called tinnitus retrainment therapy or retraining therapy. And that's a whole story, but it is like clinically proven to be like 87% like clinically significant improvements, and it really also separates a lot of the like emotional anxiety relationship between the sound, and it makes it actually easier for like most of my day. I just like don't even remember that I have it because it's just
Very
like
cool.
yeah, tuned out. So if there's anyone out there who's like in a spot I was in like 5-ish years ago, there is something you can do, and doctors who tell you that there's not are probably well-meaning, but not helping you. Doctors good generally. There's so many people who don't like doctors anymore, which is crazy. Our society doesn't.
Let's not go down that rabbit hole,
Not go down the rabbit hole. But doctors good. This specific kind of doctor also very good if you have the specific problem.
That's actually really cool. For me,
Yeah.
it's very often in a blue moon, which shows my age.
Yeah.
Ask your parents, kids. Every so often, it'll be there, like like somebody somebody turned on a tower or something, and suddenly I'm just like,
Ooh,
and it goes away.
Yeah,
But
it happens to me too, where like I get like a random hot, like louder sound. I'm like, oh,
yeah. And so it's like when you get a pain in your wrist, and you're like, oh, is this it? Is this the carpal
why
tunnel?
is that? Like, right? Like all of a sudden, like your like foot just hurts, and you're like, I've been sitting down. Like, what is going on?
Oh yeah, don't get me. It's called age. Anywho, thank you very much for being on the channel. Thank you for watching. Stick around. We're going to see that music video from Kyle Lewis is a boring name, and then we're going to be back for the outro. So in the meantime, we'll temporarily say goodbye, and we'll see you in a minute.
I've got another couple months of pills in my blood, and I feel better now than when I was doing you as a drug and calling it love. Can we really call that love? Yes, we were in love. I've got another couple months of pills in my brain, and I feel better now than when I was driving you insane and blending your fate, orchestrating all your days. I've got to let go. I don't know how to release my hold once I've got my fingers on your bones. You're a marionette I can't control no matter how hard I pull. I've got another couple months of pills on my desk, and I feel better now, planning what is next for me and me alone. Let's splay open our veins and tie ourselves together. A genius intravenous display of witty weaving. I'm weeping, wearing we as a bandage. And I'm so tired of finding love and treating you like you're a miracle. Maybe I should just grow up and learn to live my life alone. There's got to be something more than dread and killing ourselves in each other's beds. You can stay if you so choose. I'll spend my days abusing you.
I want to thank Kyle Lewis from Kyle Lewis is a Boring Name for coming on the channel. It was a great interview and an awesome music video. If you want to know more about him and the band, check out the social media links down below. Other than that, if you want to see more videos like this, please click up here. If you want to subscribe, click over there. I'd like it if you ring the bell, but just subscribe and you can choose none for the bell. It's okay. I appreciate it. And if you want to hear my own music, click over there. Remember to be amazing, and we'll see you next time on Room 6. Say goodbye, Kyle.
Bye.
Ba-da-ba-ba-da-bum.
Bop.
There's always one.